Hey guys, I'm here with BYU head coach Shawn Olmstead. BYU is going to be the number one seed going into the MPSF tournament next week. And Shawn, you and I spoke about a year ago, right after the season had been canceled, and you were not shy about saying how good that team was, definitely national championship potential. A year later, you basically have the same team. How are you feeling about them now?
Yeah, no, of course I feel the same. I'm their coach, but you look back at that year and that was an outstanding team and they had put themselves in a pretty remarkable spot, especially if you look at down to the day everything was shut down, those guys were right there. They had just come off one of the better performances that this program's ever had going on the road under those circumstances against the number one team at the time, play the way they played that first night, and then still even the second night push it into overtime in the fifth set. It just absolutely they had all the potential, and I believe this group has the same potential. I do believe that these guys we have not been as consistent, and those are a few things that we've been working to identify. And so like I've said before in other interviews, I think every year, no matter the personnel you have coming into your program or returning to your program, every year brings on new challenges and new things. And so in the interview I just did a minute ago, they kind of asked, "Oh, you've got the same team," and I said, "Well, I don't think you can say that because I look at them as a group. It's a new group. There's new guys coming in. The guys grow and mature and gain experience over the off season at different rates. Some more than others, and so every year it was without a doubt a new team. So yeah, there's a lot of familiar faces, and so we've understand that and recognize that, and we've done our best to identify that hey, things aren't just going to fall into place where we left off. And everybody's getting a little older, you could say, throughout the country. Those teams, they brought guys back. Some of their guys grew at maybe better rates than our guys. So it still comes down to this group now becoming a team, in their own identity and in their own way, regardless of what happened last year, and the things that they accomplished last year. So definitely this group's very, very similar though, and has the potential to compete, which I believe there's a handful of teams though that have that potential. So I'd say that about a lot of teams, and we're just excited that things are still moving forward, and we are, it looks to be that we're going to be able to at least, compete for that. And that's not to say we're looking at all beyond the MPSF tournament, because we've lost to MPSF teams this year. And so that nothing's a given. And you can't do that. So we're focused on the fact that we're going to play a match a week from today. And that's, in reality, that's all we have left as of right now. You can't look beyond that. That's all that's given to us, I guess you could say. And so I talk to the guys all the time about, being present where you are. We say, hey, where your feet are, you're there. Be where your feet are. And right now, I expect them to be doing that in the weight room. And then when they go home at night to study for finals, I expect them to be there in that moment and cut out all the other distractions. And then we're going to practice tomorrow and Monday, et cetera, et cetera. And then we're going to ideally be in that match on Friday that we need to be in, which is that match in that moment. And if we can do that, and we can do it at a high level, then we're going to put ourselves in pretty nice spots going forward, to be competitive.
And you guys have a bye in the first round of the tournament, is that right?
Yeah.
So do you know the two teams that will be playing for the match to play you guys?
No, not yet. So
Okay.
you know what? I have, sorry, how does that, I could relook, because unfortunately there were, I need to relook, but we didn't, but there were some cancellations, some matches that there's a handful of matches that aren't going to get played this weekend that, anyways, so as of right now, we don't know, who they are that I know of. Maybe maybe I'm just going to show that, hey, I've been focused more on just practice and those kind of things, that I'm not too worried about it right now. All I know is, hey, look, we've played each MPSF opponent a handful of times. So we're going to be playing somebody that we're pretty familiar with, and they're going to be saying the same things. Hey, we're going to be playing a team we're pretty darn familiar with. And so I expect it to be pretty competitive throughout the whole entire MPSF tournament, just because we've been locked into this conference only bubble, to use that saying that's become so common. I mean, it's not a bubble, it's not the NBA bubble, but we've just been locked into this conference only where we've played teams already 4 times, and almost all of them 4 times, and then a few others 3 times. So we could be playing an opponent for the 5th time, or et cetera, so it's going to be super competitive because we're all pretty familiar with each other.
Yeah. So in your last match of regular season play, you guys lost to UCLA. What happened in that match?
Yeah, they made some really good changes, and unfortunately, I didn't think that we adjusted too well in the moment, and I can take accountability there that maybe I wasn't expecting a few of their changes. Maybe we were, and they just executed a lot better. I mean, they had one stretch there that was one of the best. How many points? 8, 6, 7, 8 points in a row that I've ever seen in volleyball, from my playing days. You can't, they had a server, Austin went back on the line, and man, what a stretch of points. And we did our best to stay in it. We used our timeouts. We tried to talk to the guys in the right way and try to have any sort of strategy, but he got us good. And maybe that match would have been we would have went up 2-1. We were in a good position to win that. That was the 3rd set, and props to them. They came back, and so they were aggressive, and we didn't adjust well to a few things. I think we just got a little too rattled, and we started not freaking out, but just started worrying about too many things that weren't super relevant to what was going to allow us to score points. And when we did that, you start to just get thoughts and things all over the place, and we couldn't stay focused on a few key things that we really needed to be able to score points.
Yeah. Obviously, you mentioned you've played all the teams in the conference multiple times. So is there anybody that you kind of have your eye on that's doing really well at this point in the season?
No, not specifically. I mean, I believe that the MPSF overall, this is such a unique year where we couldn't go put ourselves against out of conference opponents. None of us could. And so we've got to do our best within our constraints to compete as best we can. And I've been super impressed with the MPSF, from top to bottom. And it's unfortunate that we couldn't go out and play other conferences, because I think it would have been great for us. I think we would have made a strong case for, being a very, very competitive conference in men's volleyball. You could put us at the top when you compare to the rest of the conferences, top to bottom with your teams. And so we're trying to stay with our team, stay focused on that, and not trying to predict who it's going to be here or there. And we've had tough matches. We've lost match to Grand Canyon, we've lost to UCLA twice, and but hey, we've won tough overtime games in all the sets against Pepperdine. They're a tough group. I think very, very highly of their coaching staff. They're going to be very, very well prepared. And so everyone, and USC's got the athletes, and Concordia is always scrappy, and on, and Stanford, maybe Stanford's plan for their future, and so there's all these different things that I don't think it makes much sense for me to say, hey, we've got our eye on this, because I just think that every one of these teams, it's men's volleyball. The difference in talent is not this crazy difference. We've all got guys that can go on runs, that can score points, that can play super competitive. And so each team has that. And so for us, it's important, like I said, to just kind of be where we are, and our team playing good volleyball, clean volleyball, smart volleyball. We feel pretty comfortable that we're in a good spot.
Yeah, what are you most pleased with how the team is playing right now?
I like we've gotten better and better from the service line. We've gotten better defensively, and that does start with our serves. We've kind of continually talked to the guys about, kind of letting that flow go a little bit more, being a little more aggressive. We're okay with with a few more errors if that means we're a little bit more aggressive with our serve, and kind of having more of a green light to get after it. And so our defense starts with that, and we've seen major rewards from that when we've been assertive and aggressive and decisive from the service line. And then our blocks gotten better and better with each opportunity to play. We've come back, our bunch read, and even defensively behind the block. So we're happy with those things. Our numbers in transition have continued to get better. And so those are the things that we've been focused on. We've seen the benefit to us focusing on those things and us getting better and making improvements. So, but I do like, I think we have the guys that can really go on good runs from the service line. We've got the guys that can go do that. And you need that in the men's game. It's usually a game that comes down to serve and pass. And I know the local reporters specifically always get sick of me saying that. And it's just like, well, what else do you want me to say? I'm not going to say something that really isn't true. It's going to come down to that. Can we serve tough and get our opponents off the net? Can they serve tough at us and get us off the net, so that we're taking low percentage swings on the pins where we're going against three blockers and a well-formed defense? So, it's kind of the back and forth that we're kind of going, that each team is dealing with right now. And the men's game comes down to serve and pass, and you want to take chances. So missing serves isn't the worst thing ever. Now if we go on a stretch of that, we've got to address it. But missing serves, ideally, there's usually a correlation to us being pretty aggressive and getting our opponents out of, quote unquote, out of system.
Right. So you mentioned Stanford a little bit ago. It's very possible that this tournament could be the last time they get to play. As a member of the very small men's volleyball community, how does the loss of that program make you feel?
Oh, it's brutal. The honest truth is it's a bummer. It's definitely a bummer, because I truly believe that men's volleyball is growing. Utah was as close as we've ever been as a state to sanctioning it as a high school sport. I mean, we were right there. I was, our team, guys, we were presented on like the Senate or state floor, honored up there in suit and tie, and with the attorney generals come to our games, and so there's growth. It's growing. And then for that opportunity to just kind of be taken away, and such a powerhouse of a program, a traditional, every year in and year out, Costi does a phenomenal job with that group, those young men, and a great educational institution, just top to bottom. So many positives. And I look back to when I was a player. I mean, it was Stanford. It's Stanford. And to lose that, it was shocking. And so I hope there's some life. There's a little more there that we can try to get out of it. I've seen the latest press releases where it sounds like there's a little progress. I'm looking forward to talking to John when they get into town next week on Tuesday, that maybe we can catch up and see where that is at. But, just anytime we lose opportunities for young men in our sport, that's a big deal, especially as it relates to the Title IX stuff that's a battle in college athletics, and kind of the back and forth of the numbers of participation, as it relates to, specifically for us, the guys' side, as it relates to going head to head with the football numbers, et cetera, et cetera. So you lose opportunities for those young men. It just, it kind of hurts the growth of the sport. in some way, shape, or form, because you're losing those opportunities that those kids can take hold of and take advantage of.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Coach, I really appreciate talking with you, and good luck to you and your team next week in the tournament.